Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for experimental build 22 of update 120 of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful! So what have we got for you this week? Well, if you couldn't tell by those sounds, I've got a little bit of taking hold stuff for you folks this week. I have been in the lead up to our 1.0 release, going back and doing some tune-ups involving, and some second passes involving some stuff that I built for Taking Hold that I don't love, that I've never loved. And one of those things is a couple of our boss encryptions that I did a while back. In short, to give you an idea of what I'm attempting to do, is that after studying the last First to Worst tournament, seeing how a bunch of the competitive folk played, I realized that a bunch of the stuff that I had done to try to make those encryptions very dynamic to fight ended up mainly just making them very random in a way that sort of two equally skilled people making the same equally good decisions got very different results. And this bumped me out because the competition at the very high level for Taking Hold is fierce. And so I wanted to give things a second shot to reimagine how they could be. And I wanted to show you one of those encryptions today. This is the second rev of our polymorphic encryption. The idea of the polymorphic encryption, basically, is that it was a boss version of our recursive encryption. If you remember, the concept of the recursive encryption is that you have several different hit zones that you have to hit to destroy it, but if you strike the blue center, it regenerates a bunch of those. So in a sense, it's a no-shoot target that makes life worse for you if you hit the no-shoot part of it. So the idea behind this one was to basically make that more dynamic. And so the version of polymorphic that I had was basically had more versions of it, and it moved like a slow version of the agile. The problem with this is that it would frequently move into very stupid places and rotate randomly in very stupid ways that weren't fun to fight against. And as I said, would basically just like randomly screw over one player but not the other. And so instead, I have rebuilt it around this concept. So we have an armored section of it that this is a fairly low mass target, so that if we strike that, we actually impart a decent amount of rotational velocity onto it. This might seem like a bad thing initially, but this is actually a very important part of this target, which is that every time we strike one of the hit zones, the target reorients. And it's not reorienting randomly, it's actually reorienting entirely based upon where and how I'm striking it. So this is a completely deterministic system. If two players scored exactly the same hit from the same vantage point, they would get the same results. So it still has chaotic and complex movement behavior, but it's not just going to randomly BS you because of the way that you chose to fight it. So let's see if we can... Oh, there we go. Getting it. Oh. And now in this case, because of our firing position, we might not have a very good angle. That's the purpose of the armor segments, is to allow us to basically rotate the target to a different facing to be able to hit it. Yep, go over there, go over there. Doing this with, I just realized I was shooting with the wrong eye. We almost got it. Rotate. Oh, did we not get it? Doing this on 1911 irons at this distance is terrible. Last one. There we go. Got it. So yeah, still a bit of tuning to do, but that gives you an idea of what I'm attempting to do here. I want it to be the case that when you're fighting one of these, you don't get a long time or get screwed over because it did something random that frustrated you. You should get a bad time because you stink and you can't hit the right part of it. So yeah, so that's the goal. So next week we will have the updated version of the cascading and orthogonal encryptions that I think some of you will love/hate. So let's take a look at something else Taking Hold related. The take and hold menu has gotten a little bit of love. Two important things, one minor, one major. The minor part of it is that these categories no longer cap out at 6 or 8 or what have you. This quickly became a problem as the custom field when I was testing all of your creations to look for bugs overfilled the list of 9, and they all didn't fit there. So that actually has an arrow that pops up when there's actually more than 9 of them. And then the other thing that's here is that there have been, over the years, a hilarious number of people who don't realize there's more than one take and hold map. I remember when I put in Institution, there were a whole bunch of people who were like, will you revert it to the old map? And I had to be like, there's arrows there, buddy. You can select them. So Nathan has rebuilt this to actually have a carousel of images, so that if you have, especially if you've installed a bunch of modded take and hold maps, they will also show up in this line to hopefully make it a little more obvious to folks that there is in fact more than one map to play in this mode. It's just an example of the little quality of life things we're trying to get into place for this 1.0. So let's jump out of VR, talk about what else is going on. We have been taking all of your bug reports and feature suggestions and things related to the H3VR studio and workshop stuff and game planner, and we've been trying to get as much done as we possibly can for it. There have been a whole bunch of sort of studio side tweaks and fixes that have occurred over the last 2 weeks. We're in the process of doing a few more of those adjustments to the game's codes. There's not like a ton to actually look at in terms of what we've been doing, but a whole bunch of it just basically relates to giving folks all of the different knobs that they would like to be able to turn in building custom take and hold characters. I've been taking a peek at what you folks have been working on. It's super cool. I'm glad to see the sort of ecosystem begin to flourish with some of this stuff. I know it's still glitchy. We're working on it, and we'll get some helpful tool tips in soon. You might have noticed earlier today on this channel, I posted the first tutorial. I'm going to be doing a couple more tutorials. I'm going to do a basic one that is just about making the simplest change to an existing take and hold character possible and showing you how to set that up and upload it. And then I'm going to be doing a deep dive where I will go into every single one of the data types that a take and hold character is built out of, so that you can see what they all are, what do all the properties mean, and what some of my design logic behind them is, in the hopes that will help some of you end up making, authoring some of the more complex things. You should definitely check out, if you're, as long as you're running on experimental, there's some folks who are beginning to put up some really, really neat stuff to try out, and I'm sure they would love some testing notes from folks willing to try out those characters. So yeah, beyond that, as I said, just standard fixing. There was I feel like such a goober. There were actually there's a filtering option missing or two for the past 6 or 7 years. Sorry, meme. I keep doing that to myself. That was that object tables were unable to filter for. That has now finally been fixed. A few night vision bugs, some serialization bugs. So yeah. In general, as I said, we're trying to wrap up the sort of back end stuff so that we can just have the cleanest, most pleasant launch on the 4th with a bunch of fun goodies for you folks. It'll be a very special day. It has taken 250 years to make this ridiculous of a virtual reality game about hot dogs and guns. I would say that that's time well spent. So, anywho, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.